Lee, Seána, how you both doing today?
Not
Good,
bad.
yeah.
So far, so good.
Yeah,
Happy
yeah.
to hear it. First in, big question. Favourite scary movie of all time?
Oh,
Jaws.
Okay.
End of story. Number one, always, in all categories.
Oh, okay.
You're under pressure now, aren't you?
I'm going to say The Shining because it was the first one that
answer.
came into my head, and it's a classic. So I mean, you can't go wrong with
It's my
a
number
classic.
2, so that's a good answer.
Yeah,
We're
okay,
covering all the
this is
bases
good,
there.
That's fantastic. Yeah, both fantastic answers. to be fair. Tough-ish question, I guess. Hole in the ground. When you see it from the outside in, it's got creepy kids, creepy house, creepy woods. They can be perceived as being a little bit some of the cliches for horror. How do you work around that, knowing in advance that audiences have seen every iteration of that kind of horror?
I think the key really comes from character and what your themes and what your tone are about, and then let the cliches and the tropes do their own work at that point. I didn't try and intentionally sit down and avoid anything or fear how we'd use it. But I think there was a few key things that I was aware of. So, for example, your traditional, as you just described, that kind of traditional movie usually would have the more senior character giving a warning 10 minutes in saying, don't go into them woods, there's monsters in those woods. We didn't do that. We actually have, that version of the character 10 minutes out from the end, with your character desperately asking for, am I wrong, am I crazy? And he says, I can't answer that. So we did try and subvert in places a little bit, but I think you also have to be respectful of the genre as well in terms of how you approach it. And yeah, I don't think we ever kind of spent a lot of time wondering or worrying about, where it fit in. It was just a case of let's follow the characters and let's follow our instinct.
And for you, what was the particular point, maybe reading the script or maybe before or after that, when you were like, I am so in on this?
But even to follow on from that question, I was never worried about that because I always knew that Lee had that in control, so I could just go off and do what I had to do, and Lee would always pull it into, like, if whether in or out of the genre you wanted to be. What drew me to the role was that I knew it was going to be a major challenge. I was kind of scared and excited by the challenge of how physical it was going to be. I was really looking forward to having to do the stunts for like the burying and the crawling and the fight and all that. I was really looking forward to. And to do a genre flick and getting to ground that, trying to do horror but from a very grounded place, that it just feels like this is this woman's life, so kind of coming at it from that angle as well, because it feels very real for her.
Yeah.
So they were all things that kind of drew me in.
I think as we always discussed, right, it was always character first.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what our discussions were always about.
Yeah.
It was really about
Character.
where is Sarah at in this situation. That was what we would spend most of our time discussing.
Yeah, because I suppose if you're not invested in Sarah, then you don't really care what happens to her. You're like, meh.
Yeah,
But the fact that we were on your side, and you were fantastic, I have to say.
Thank you very much.
That's why the scares worked. From both of your perspectives, I guess, Ireland's done drama really well. Ireland's done comedy really well. Hasn't got a great reputation for horror. I think it's getting there. But do you think there's a reason why that's a genre we haven't been particularly good at, and why we are now officially getting really good at it?
I think we're a bunch of scaredy cats, aren't we? So it's funny sometimes when you talk to Irish people, like, what's your movie? It's a horror movie, and people can get a little bit fearful of what that means. But the genres, there's a lot of space in the genre in terms of, the spectrum of where the story plays. And this is a lot of psychological values as a film, which I think will attract a big audience. I think people are really drawn to that. But in terms of, to actually answer your question, in terms of why we're getting better, I don't know, like, it's a question I've been asked a few times recently. It may be a generational thing in terms of what we were inspired by when we watched that, there's a certain set of voices coming through now, using those inspirations in our own contemporary way. And I guess as the Irish film industry grows overall, everyone is kind of gaining confidence to just be brave and try and make films that can perform in an international way, and on an international platform. So I don't think it's necessarily that, we haven't all sat down and thought, let's do horror right now. I just think it's kind of, it's gone there and it's developed, and there's voices that want to tell these kind of stories.
You helped segue fantastically into the international market. I understand you've had a fantastic couple of weeks.
Yeah.
How, like, when you see the reaction, like, every time I was reading about it, I was so happy. I was like, oh, they've got Sundance. Oh, they've got A24. Oh, the reviews coming out are fantastic. But from your side, what was your reaction when you were seeing that reaction?
I think we're still very much in the whirlwind of it all. You know, I kind of haven't been spat out the other side just yet. And I think I don't know about you, but I'm still holding my breath for tonight with the premiere. And then when it comes out on March the 1st to get like everybody's reaction as well. But it's an amazing couple of first steps to be like, okay, A24 are buying it. Okay, we're going to Sundance. Okay. Like, you know, those things are, you know, amazing to hear, but kind of hard to accept.
Sure.
If I'm being totally frank.
Sweet relief would be my answer. Really. Yeah, it was great. You don't know, and you know, you go into your premiere and you don't know how it's going to go down, and you walk out of it and you're checking Twitter already.
Yeah.
You know, people, you know, it's a fast-moving world in terms of communication. So it was kind of nerve-wracking. Like the screening itself was really tough because I'd only ever watched my short films with audiences before, and I realised watching the feature that I had a tolerance of 15 minutes before the fear set in. So, like, as I said to the audience afterwards, I was like, I hope you were all scared because I was terrified during this process. But yeah, the journey's been, the word we keep on talking about, it's like being a bit of a whirlwind. We knew we hadn't made, you know, something that people wouldn't respond to. We knew people would react. We just didn't necessarily know the level that they've reacted. And it's funny you touching on, you know, you being here and seeing that good news kind of come out. It was actually great from our side, you know, keeping in touch with what's happening in Ireland. People are just so supportive. So it's great that people are going to get to see, you know, audiences are going to get to see this in the next couple of weeks. So you talk about tonight. For all of the joy and pleasure of what's going on, tonight's the night I've been looking forward to most because it's kind of bringing it home here to the audience here. And I'm really, really excited about that.
From the international audiences, what's been the biggest butchering of your name pronunciation so far?
Oh,
I sent you some really good ones.
Yeah. You sent me. What was that? But it's actually even the surname Kerslake and also adding mad letters. But I was recently going into a studio and he's like, Seána, and I was like, oh, Seána, yeah, and he's like, Seána, yeah, and I was like, no, I was like, oh, here we go, here's a brand new one, you know. But they're not too bad, and they do a lot of research before they a lot of YouTube and trying to get somebody saying your name properly.
There was something like Kerslake, I remember.
Yeah.
Made it sound like you were Carna Lake. I remember.
I've heard Kerslake.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Well, it's a great conversation opener because they're like, oh, your name. It's like a segue into like a conversation.
I have this really bad habit if I'm ordering like food or something and they say, what's your name? I always go, Lee, and they think my name is Ellie.
Oh my
God,
God,
I always
brilliant.
do beforehand, yeah. Don't know why I said that. But
No, I'm glad you have a story too.
Well, I'm so happy that this one has done so well, and I have to ask, because it's off the back of this, can you discuss what you're doing next? Or potentially doing next?
The hole in the ground too.
Yeah.
The bigger hole.
They're on holidays, yeah, they're in the Canary Islands. And
I think the best way to answer that question is exploring projects that are thematically connected to this, that kind of idea of doubt and dread. So a couple of projects on the go, a couple of screenplays finished, and obviously off the back of something like this, you get that little bit of heat. So I think we've both been engaging with people both here and on the other side of the water around some projects, but it's what you said, it's all, you haven't breathed it out yet, so it's all pretty fresh, but I would hope we'll both be busy soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's
I hope
open
so
for
too.
discussion. It's like to be determined.
What are the hours? That's what I would say.
Well, the one I am looking forward to is the Barry Keoghan, Timothée Chalamet Oasis biopic that you've already thrown your hand in the ring for.
Right. I forgot I said that on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was late at night.
Yeah.
I would jump on that for sure.
And you could play one of the Appleton sisters, maybe?
Sure, why not?
Why not?
I love all things.
The producer over here.
Lee and
You
Seána,
sort that out there now.
I'll work behind the scenes and I'll get it done, so you just have to
Perfect.
get straight to
Brilliant.
work.
Right, I'll be
Thanks so
there.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks a
you.
million, Rory. Cheers, man.
Chris, wait. Chris? Christopher! Mum?
Never run off me like that again, okay?
There were three loud knocks coming knocking on the
There's something not right with him lately. I can't put my finger on it, but
down by the
I know.
river.